Today we are going to make a circle skirt. That thing I said I was going to make first when I started doing this on my channel almost 2 years ago.
I will start with my first skirt, which will be a circle skirt.
We're gonna make that today. It is perhaps the easiest of all garments to make, second only to like a toga. And it's something that I would genuinely enjoy wearing. Not that I wouldn't enjoy wearing a toga. Maximum level of comfort. Okay, so. That's what I said. Let's do this.
I think I'll walk.
The most complicated part about sewing a circle skirt is getting the correct fabric measurements. There's a formula that is easily Googleable. For a full circle skirt, which is what I'm going to make, the radius, which is the number you're looking for, is equal to your waist measurement divided by 2 times pi. If you aren't mathy, or if you just don't feel like it, there's a lot of circle skirt calculators out there where you just type in your waist measurement and the type of circle skirt you're going for, whether it be full, half, 3/4 circle skirt, and it'll tell you the radius of your circle. Once you have that number, fold your fabric into 4, measure from the folded corner, and cut. That's it. You can wear it as is, but you should probably put some sort of hem at the bottom, maybe a waistband or something at the top. You do you though, no judgment. So I want to make a knee-length skirt, and that raises a problem. In order to do that, my fabric would have to be wider than it is, or really wider than any fabric is. The widest fabric you're going to find is generally 60 inches, which would yield a 30-inch skirt minus the radius of your waist. So this is how you fix that. Fold your fabric once, and make 2 half-circle skirts using the same measurement for the full circle skirt. Sew them together at the side seams. I used my hip measurement rather than my waist measurement so that I could use elastic in the waist rather than adding a zipper. Have you ever thought about how funny the word circle is? Say it about 50 times in 10 minutes. Circle. Circle. The first C is pronounced like an S, but the second one's pronounced like a K. Why do we even have the letter C? Seems pretty useless now that I think about it. And don't even get me started on the LE at the end of the word. It should be Sursley or Kirkley. English is such a messed up language because we took pronunciation rules from a bunch of other languages, threw them into a big alphabet soup melting pot. Phonics are pointless. Nothing makes sense. Anyway, you don't care about my thoughts on linguistics. Back to the skirt. After I cut my 2 half Kirkley skirts, I also cut out a lining, a waistband, and pockets, which I made with the lining material. Because if I'm making my own clothes, you can be flippin' sure that they are going to have pockets. Next, I sewed the pockets to the skirt panels. I used a French seam to sew the pocket pieces together, which you can clearly see in this shot. I did a short tutorial on French seams in the elf tunic video, so if you'd like better instruction, click here to watch that video. Then I sewed the lining to the skirt at the hem right sides together. I sewed the lining pieces together before this step. If you're wondering where Butters is, he's here. He just doesn't get on the table as much as Ponzi. After you sew your lining to the skirt, make sure everyone in the room takes a short nap. A cat nap, if you will. Because of the way that I sewed the lining and the skirt together, I need to trim the excess seam allowance before I flip it inside out. You don't have to do it this way, I was just trying to avoid top stitching. I pressed the hem once I flipped it right side out to give it a crisp edge. And finally, the waistband. I found the halfway point in both my waistband and skirt and pinned them right sides together. Then found the halfway point between the halfway points and so on and so forth until I was satisfied with the number of pins. Be sure to invert the room 90 degrees before sewing the waistband to the skirt. I wanted the other edge of the waistband to be tucked under when I sewed it. Because I'd be top stitching and the seam would be on the bottom where I couldn't keep an eye on it, I basted it in place to ensure it wouldn't shift when I sewed. I want you all to appreciate that I actually did the right thing here. And yes, friends, that is a thimble on my finger. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. It was incredibly tedious and boring, and even sped up 800% doesn't make for very interesting content. I used my favorite method here, stitch in the ditch. It's a little out of the ditch in this shot, but come on, give me a break. It's hard to film this angle. Lastly, I threaded the elastic through while discussing with my boyfriend how comedian Ron White only has one act. And I thought, well, maybe it's that way for, like, all of them. You know, maybe that's just how comedians operate. But then they had, like, the Blue Collar Comedy Tour Rides Again, and they all had new material, except Ron White. And that's all there is to it. A completed, beautiful skirt, and the latest piece of my new wardrobe pie. If you enjoyed this video, thought it was helpful, or just want to hear more of my thoughts on completely unrelated topics, consider subscribing. We're doing the whole wardrobe, so there's bound to be more pie in my future. Until next time. Oh. Stayed for the after credits scene, I see. I got you. So this video was presented as more of a tutorial. Normally in my videos, I like to point out everything I did wrong. And as per usual, there was a lot. I just didn't put it in there because I felt like it wouldn't really be instructive this time. But in case you're wondering, let's start at the top. I planned on doing this video back in May, I think, of 2021, and we are now in January of 2023. This was one of the first projects I was going to make, and I bought the fabric then. I really didn't know a lot about fabric when I bought it. So what I bought was fabric from Spoonflower, which came up when I was searching for sustainable fabric. I did not realize that the fabric was going to be printed and not dyed. So the fabric itself is very stiff. It's more of a canvas than a cotton. And that didn't turn out to be too bad of a deal, but I wouldn't recommend it. It wrinkles really easy. I'm hoping that that changes once I wash it and, wear it in a little bit. I did the lining the way that I did because at the time that I planned this out, I didn't know how to ease hems, and I thought that I could avoid easing the hem doing it that way. I do know how to ease a hem now. The next thing was that I started this back in August, I think, and then I finished it just recently. So when I was reviewing the footage, I realized that I already cut out a waistband. I have no idea where it is. I cut out elastic too, but Lord knows where that is. I was going to use the waistband from a different skirt that I had taken apart, but when I cut this waistband, it didn't fit. This waistband, when I cut it, for one thing, I thought that I would be adding a zipper. I forgot that I had made the circumference so that I could add elastic. So I went and I bought a zipper. So that's why the zipper's in that one scene. But Ponzi took care of that for us. I thought I'd be able to get around the boxiness of the waistband of the last skirt I made, where it just kind of goes up straight and doesn't move in at my waist, by cutting the waistband on kind of a curve. So I cut out fabric from where the bottom of the skirt panel ended. I thought this was so clever, and then I realized that I was using elastic, and it wouldn't matter anyway. Once I realized that the waistband wasn't going to fit in the waistband I had made, I searched around my stash for another piece of elastic that would work, and the piece that I got, I chose the biggest width of what I had available to me, that would fit in there. And it isn't very strong, so even though my skirt does have pockets, I can't put my phone in there without it sagging on the one side. So I will probably be adding belt loops so that I can wear a belt with it. I will probably also be top stitching the bottom because the lining is a little bit longer than it needs to be, so it shows a bit at the bottom. It's the same color, so it's not too big of a deal, but maybe in the future, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Overall, I'm really happy with how this project turned out, and I actually have worn it a couple of times. It's due for a wash now. It's comfortable, and it's, I think, stylish, you know, if you're a 1950s housewife, for sure. I guess that's all. Good luck making your own circle skirt, and let me know how it goes in the comments. And now, for your viewing pleasure, here are some outtakes from the video. Hi. Oh boy. Okay, okay. Yep, you're a good boy, okay? But you gotta get down. Get down. Get down. Mommy filming. For blah, 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 blah. For a full circle skirt, which is what I'm making. That was great until I dropped my script. Listen, we gotta work together. We're a team. Okay. There is a formula that is eagly. You want to take the radius, which is the number you're looking for. No, you don't want to take the radius. That's the number you're looking for. Damn it. Okay. I sewed the right side to the wrong side.